What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Video Homicide. Today we're going to be making a very special announcement here. Over the last couple of years, I've really toyed with the idea of doing a 31 Days of Horror challenge or, extravaganza, Monster Madness, Horrorama, whatever you want to call it. Every day of the month of October, there'll be a new video from Video Homicide. It's going to be horror related. It might be a movie, it might be a comic, might be a book, might be who knows what it's going to be. But I've already recorded 5 videos, so the first 5 days of October are already covered. I'm going to continue to do my best to keep making the videos as I watch the films to keep it fresh in my mind, because there's been times in the past where I've made videos on movies that I hadn't watched in a while, and it didn't feel right. At least I feel this way. The movies are still fresh in my head, or the comics or whatever it is still fresh in my head. And I think it's going to be really exciting because I've always wanted to do this, and I think it's going to, expose people to a lot more different types of movies. I'm not going to be doing, like the basics, if you will. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff also worldwide, you know what I mean? Everywhere from Italy, Japan, America, Canada, like all as much stuff as I can possibly fit into a month-long horror-thon, basically. So I do have a lot of movies I have not watched personally, and I have movies that I have seen in the past, but I'm not doing movies like Chucky, even though I'm watching Child's Play 3 right now on the TV. But I'm staying clear from sort of like the big franchise stuff, trying to go for movies that are really, what I consider one-off titles, i.e. movies like I don't want to spoil anything, but like for instance, there's a movie called Coffee with Pam Grier. There's no sequel. Okay, there's a movie called The Burning, no sequel. That's what I'm going for. I'm trying to stay away from the franchisey stuff, because I'm trying to make it a point that every movie that comes out does not require, spin-offs, prequels, sequels, all that kind of bullshit, because we live in a day and age where every time a movie comes out, if there's any sort of success at the box office, they just start pumping out the fucking sequels. Like, I'm waiting for them to announce a Malignant sequel, which I don't think it needs, but it probably will get fucking 25 of, and then there'll be a prequel on the one guy that gets killed. Like, it's bullshit. I don't like that. So, yeah, I hope everybody is excited as I am for this. There's going to be a lot of movies that, I wasn't able to get my hands on a physical copy because, I prefer to watch, physical copies. I don't like streaming stuff, like, particularly, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So, for instance, there's a Asian film I just watched the other night, and I had to watch on an anime website, because the thing is, like, a lot of Asian films, sometimes if you go on these anime websites, they'll be on there, and you can watch them that way. So, I don't feel bad about it. And there's some movies on YouTube, but nothing that good, and not to mention, like, shit quality, So, because I've kind of scoured YouTube, I have found some documentaries and stuff that may or may not pop up during the 31 Days of Horror. But, I like to watch stuff in good quality. And ever since I started, I got my new movie shelf built courtesy of the old man, which it doesn't even, like, there's still, like, a whole fucking shelf of movies right here. Like, look at this nonsense. Look at all this shit. Look at all this shit. Like, there's no shortage of films in this goddamn apartment. It's just, there's nowhere to store them all like this. Like, I prefer them to be like this. Like just one shelf deep, like there's nothing behind it, straight to the wall. Like, I'm saving like over like more than half a foot of space now, because these other shelves are just bullshit that I got from like, there's a store called Jisk. I don't know if that's a worldwide store or what the fuck, but they sell furniture and they're overpriced as fuck. This is pine. Like, these are made out of pine. These I think are also made out of pine, but very cheap wood. Like a 6-foot sheet is like $12. That's probably expensive. I'm not in the know with the price of lumber, but I know that because of, the price went up. So this shelf, which I believe is a combined effort of like 42 feet of shelf, it was almost $200 for all this wood, And then when you think of the little bits of hardware and stuff, for something, my dad always thinks that the hardware is going to be dirt cheap. He's like, get some of those brackets. And I'm like, yeah, okay, they're like $2 a pack for 4. He's like, they should be a nickel. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, like, it's not like that anymore, buddy. But I do appreciate the old man's help for helping me make this shelf. And, I plan on doing an in-depth little review, like, throughout the month, talking about all this, because none of this shit is in alphabetical order right now or separated by genre. So you have everything from, like, a Better Tomorrow 1 and 2 box set, which I fucking couldn't believe that I found randomly, Anchor Bay. But this is John Woo Films starring Chow Yun-fat. So this should be, I know that Hard Boiled and The Killer are over here. This is dope too, man. Check this out. So here's like Hard Boiled and The Killer. And then you got Better Tomorrow 1 and 2. So that's 4 films. And then before I found this awesome box set of The Killer and Hard Boiled, I picked them up on from Dragon Dynasty. And unfortunately, Hard Boiled did not come with a slipcover, which kind of is annoying. You know, I've never like been that big of a stickler when it comes to that kind of stuff, but recently I kind of have been, because I feel like if the film did come out with a slipcover, I kind of want it. You know what I mean? Plus, it looks better. Like, for instance, I don't know where it is right now, but I have the RZA film. Wow, I can't believe I'm blanking out. Oh, there it is. The Man with the Iron Fist. So I have Man with the Iron Fist on Blu-ray with no slipcover. This is the first one. And then I have the second one somewhere here, and it does have a slipcover, and also it's DVD. But I don't give a shit about that. I've talked about that recently with some friends. Like, you know, I don't care if it's on DVD or Blu-ray. As long as I got it, that's good enough for me. Preferably, I would like to have it on Blu-ray. Most up-to-date Blu-ray, you know, like an Arrow or something like that, where you get the huge amount of features. But I'm not one of those dudes that is going to be rebuying anything. You know what I mean? I don't like I'm not going to upgrade, unless I would upgrade certain films, but I would keep the ones that I have. So movies like Zombie, I would love to get like the most, you know, pristine, up-to-date copy of that. Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Videodrome for one. I just watched that recently. That's going to pop up on 31 Days. But, you know, here's a cool movie. This isn't going to be on 31 Days of Horror. I do believe I might have done a video on this film, JD's Revenge, which is a great blaxploitation horror film. Highly recommend. This is put out by Arrow. And again, Arrow does like a spectacular job with the features. It's great. But getting back to my little spiel there about, you know, upgrading. I know that a lot of people do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, for me personally, once I have the film, you know, I don't feel the need to buy it again unless there's no features. You know, that would be a reason why I would, you know, pick up another film to get all the special features, because I love special features. I love documentaries and stuff. I wish there was more documentaries included on films nowadays. It's not a thing, but unless you pay top quality for like a boutique label DVD or Blu-ray, i.e. Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, Grindhouse, stuff like that. Grindhouse releasing is probably my favorite company. Even I only have 4 of them, but they're just so exquisitely put together, and the, you know, it looks amazing and stuff. You know, that's another thing that I found out about myself recently was, you know, for the longest time, like I would pop in VHS tapes like all the time. I might have talked about this recently, but, you know, popping in like a VHS tape of, say, Frankenstein from 1931, and it just, you know, it's my dad's old copy, you know, I love it to death and everything, but compare that to like the DVD of Frankenstein, it's just like, dude, what am I doing? So often I find myself more reaching for the DVD, unless you know, if I only have it on VHS, then there you go, I gotta watch it on VHS. But if I have the DVD and the tape, I'm watching the DVD for sure, just to get, you know, to get as much quality out of the film as I possibly can, because you know, the whole, fuck, I hate using this goddamn word, but the aesthetic of like watching a movie on VHS tape has lost its luster for me. You know, unless it's one of the ones, like if you look up here, like you'll be able to see this up here, but all these movies up here that line the top, all of my dad's fuck, can I do this without making a mess? You can see behind there, like my dad's homemade tapes from back in the day line the back of this. Like those are movies that I could watch no problem, because I did for years, you know. Heavy metal, that's how I watched heavy metal back in the day. The shittiest fucking, well, actually it wasn't that shitty, but you know, compared to the DVD, it's not exactly exquisite. RoboCop, Halloween 1 and 2, like so many movies that I grew up watching, like these dubbed tapes. Clown House is another one. I think it's up there somewhere, but the movie Clown House, my dad had I have it now, a screener copy of it. Fuck, I have no idea where that is at the moment, but I remember he kind of made it, he like instilled it in me that it was a big deal that it was a screener copy, and he used to say like, we're not supposed to have this and stuff, like, and it was like, it gave this extra sense of like spookiness to the film, you know. So I would be like, oh fuck, we're not supposed to have this, but we're watching it. So I remember he taped it, and I remember like he gave the copy of it to my cousin, and I remember when my cousin sold all of his VHS tapes, which was like, oh my god, like for like a quarter a piece back, and they were talking like heavy duty stuff, and he regrets it now. I regret it now, but fuck, I lost my point there. Oh, so the Clown House tape. So anyways, I remember getting that tape back from my cousin and then only watching that one for a while. Because I was like, fuck, I can't watch that. I'm going to get arrested. You know, this is like 7-year-old me, like, you know, because I've said before, and I made a documentary a while ago called Demons and Dead Guys, which sort of, you know, is a total ego thing, I guess you could say. A lot of people told me that was like an ego thing. Like, why would you make a documentary about yourself for film school? Well, too fucking bad. The film school I went to was basically a joke, in my opinion. So here's a documentary about myself, pal. But it kind of goes into a deeper thing. Like, I would highly recommend if you're a fan of my channel, and you like the short films, you know, because that's one thing that I like. I separate myself from a lot of other people on YouTube, is like I've been behind the camera. I know what it feels like to make short films. I've had short films play in Japan, London, Ontario, here where I live, Pakistan, I believe Brazil. I think collectively I've had stuff played like 40 times. Some of them though, like there's a website called Film Freeway, which is where I submit my films. Like the ones that are free, and if they get into a free fest, like a free thing, it's probably going to screen online somewhere. Like, it's still cool, but it's not the same as having something screen in a cinema or like at a horror convention. And that's another thing. I think my days of submitting to non-horror festivals are over, because I don't like the pretentiousness of everything. And it's not my type of environment, so I will go ahead and say that. But there is quite a few movies here on the shelf that I've yet to watch that I'm like putting up for consideration for 31 days. But it's hard for me, because every time I think of a movie that is like a good choice, like there's another one that comes up and I'm like, maybe that one's could be better, you know. And that's maybe one of my problems. Like, I have a movie, for instance, called The Changeling, or Changeling. I don't know how to pronounce that film, but I've had it for years, and it's always been there on the shelf, and I've almost grabbed it a few times, but just haven't bit the bullet yet. So, you know, and there's movies like that all peppered throughout this collection. Not only out here in the living room, but in my room, like in my closet, there's about 5 or 6 U-Haul boxes, like the small boxes, which hold like probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 movies full in there. My DVDs, my non-horror, non-martial arts, or Asian cinema, because Asian cinema and horror, when I say Asian cinema, I don't just mean like 1970s chop socky kung fu. Like, I'm talking about like, you know, the John Woo stuff and the fucking Bruce Lee stuff and the Donnie Yen stuff, shit like that, you know, and all of like the Yakuza stuff, Kenji Fukusaka films, and like, you know, there's so many good Asian crime directors out there that people sleep on. Fortunately, we have companies like Arrow that put out these spectacular box sets. I got a buddy online, VZ Madness. I know he cops those like whenever they come out, and I'm pretty sure Arrow is putting out a new giallo box set coming out soon. Like, fuck, man, like probably like good stuff. Like, you never know though, right? Because I've got another box set up here. I don't know if I'll be able to find. Oh, here it is right here. I remember buying this and having my hopes up so high. This is the Cannibal Massacre collection by Severin, which is a good label. Put out a lot of good stuff, but we got Cannibal Terror, Papaya, Love Goddess of the Cannibals, and Devil Hunter. Okay, Papaya, Love Goddess of the Cannibals, I wouldn't make my worst enemy sit through that film again. Me and my dad watched all 3 of these one night, and I remember we were just like, dude, like, fuck, like looking at our watches kind of thing, you know, waiting for it to end. But I believe Devil Hunter was pretty decent, and I think Cannibal Terror was decent too. You know, unfortunately, I'll probably never watch these again. I might watch Devil Hunter again because I think that was the one that we've liked, but, you know, it's kind of depressing having that kind of stuff on the shelves, and that kind of goes into my next little point here, a little bit of the video. When I was putting everything on this shelf, I did what I call a flush. Excuse me, okay? And what that means is I took a lot of stuff off, DVDs and Blu-rays included, and VHS, of course. Stuff that I bought on a whim, i.e. dollar store movies, shit that I knew was garbage, but I just bought because it was cheap. So I took all that stuff off the shelf. No intention of getting rid of it at the moment, but just separating it from the good stuff. I want my wall behind me here to represent what I like, you know, and I want to be able to look at this and every movie be a movie that I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, and grab, instead of like having to sift through, you know. I for some reason I bought this movie called Shark Exorcist a while ago. It might have been in a video, but I remember thinking to myself when I was, you know, loading this shelf up, like, why the fuck did I buy this? What, because it was $3? Like, dude, this looks like trash. And it says on the top, Satan has jaws. Like, dude, I love Jaws, and I hate shitty shark movies, but for some reason that like horror collector or just collector thing in general was in my head, and I was like, fuck, I need to get that. And you know what? No, you don't need to get that. It's gonna be garbage. I hate the Sharknado films. I hate all that kind of shark, like the only shark films that I think matter in the world are Jaws 1, 2, people would argue 3 and shit like that, but for personally, Jaws 1 and 2, I like Deep Blue Sea 1, and that 47 Meters Down was pretty interesting, and fuck, I don't remember the other film. I think the girl's name was Blake Lively that was in it, but she was kind of like washed up like on this rock, and there was a shark fucking with her. Like, that one was decent, but as far as like, you know, these like dime a dozen sci-fi channel shark films, like Shark versus Tarantula and Shark versus Godzilla, and like it's just, come on, enough's enough. New horror to me is just getting worse and worse, and it's fucking sad, man, because I love the genre. I love cinema in general, especially horror movies, and you know, it's so rare that you get to see a new one that's good and refreshing. Like, I'm waiting for another Ari Aster film or another fucking Robert Eggers film. I know Robert Eggers is doing another, or another period piece like he does. Like, when it comes to Ari Aster, like when he did Hereditary, which I love, then he did Midsommar, which, you know, me and Kayla watched it again recently, and I was like, this movie fucking sucks. We saw it in theater, we were all high, and we were like, this is fun. Like, and then when we sat here and watched it, I remember just thinking, like, this movie blows. Like, the best part of it is the scene where, you know, the not the opening scene, but the scene where it's like the camera goes to the house and then it's revealed that the sister committed suicide. She has like the thing taped to her face. Like, dude, that's about as good as it got for Midsommar for me. But I still respect Ari Aster as a filmmaker because I liked Hereditary that much. I know he's capable of good things, and I'm not saying Midsommar is dog shit, but it's definitely hamster shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. So with that being said, everybody, I appreciate you fuckers for watching my videos, and you know, hopefully I'll be able to get another live stream in maybe this Friday, or maybe hopefully Friday night or Saturday night, ideally, just because, you know, people usually have the weekends off kind of thing, and I'll maybe I'll push it a little bit later because I know mostly West Coast people come on, so maybe I'll push it for like 11 o'clock my time, which would be 8 or 9 o'clock West Coast time. So Trash Dash, Retro or Die, you know, there's a few others out there that pop in regularly. So I really appreciate you guys for watching, man. Honestly, it's been a blast. I'm very hyped. You know, the reason there hasn't been a video for the last couple of days or like week or whatever is because I've been making these 31 days of horror videos. So, and they're about 10 minutes a pop, and I got to watch the film. So, like I said, I got 5 made. So the first 5 days of October are covered, and I'm going to do my best to do at least one a day. So hopefully by the time October 1st rolls around, I'll have like, you know, 10 videos, boom, right off the bat, so I can just upload one every day. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it, and it's fun to just talk about horror movies, and I love doing this shit. So leave a 666 in the comments if you watched all the way through, and adios. That was a 20-minute one. Holy fuck.